One of my favorite projects getting developed is the ErgoDex. And if you aren't familiar with it, it's similar to like a Uniswap in terms of it's a decentralized exchange that allows you to take your tokens and swap them for other tokens. So if you've got an ADA token and you want to swap it for an Ethereum token, you can do that directly on the exchange. My name's Christian. I started this meetup a couple months back because Cardano has gone through so many dramatic changes here in the last year. And if you bought it last year or at the beginning of this year, you're probably up in the neighborhood of about 1,500%, which is something that's really incredible. But the benefits of Cardano go far beyond what its price is currently. And I think that you'll see from this roadmap and some of the things that are going on that it's got just such tremendous utility that is yet to be unlocked. There's going to be some really amazing things that come up. First off, let's get into this article on Decrypt. This is basically what the critics are saying right now about Cardano. The smart contract portion of it launched, the Alonzo hard fork that happened on Sunday evening, but where are the Dapps? So we'll get into the Dapps here in just a second. Decentralized application, what's getting developed on Cardano. I think when people think of Dapps, they think mostly of decentralized finance. Some people think of NFTs. Other people think of just all of the myriad of applications that can be developed in a decentralized way, and we'll get into one or two of those as well. But you're going to see there's a lot of detractors that who voice their opinion on what's going on with Cardano. Most of them are in the Ethereum space. Some of them are on some of the other blockchains as well, but we'll go into where we are and where we're going here. I always like to start off with Ethereum because that is the big boy on the block, right? What has Ethereum done? What was their timeline for getting things done? They obviously were conceived in 2013, 14 and implemented live in 2015. It took a little bit of time for smart contracts to start getting some traction on the blockchain. And in 2017, the NFTs started to hit the scene with the CryptoKitties, which pretty much crashed the Ethereum blockchain because there was just so much trading and interaction that went on with those types of NFTs there for a while. 2018, 19 is when the DeFi space really started to get built out. There was a lot of smart people that are developing on Ethereum and continue to do so. And so their ecosystem is built out and is much, much larger right now than anybody else when it comes to smart contracts. There are some other platforms out there like Solana and Polkadot, and Avalanche is one that's getting developed right now. Algorand, they all offer layer one solutions to smart contracts, and some of the scaling issues that Ethereum's running into right now, they preponder to basically solve. But Ethereum, until it gets dethroned, is still the number 2 kid on the block right behind Bitcoin, and they will be so. And once they launch Ethereum 2.0, which is supposed to be out here probably beginning of next year, March, April timeframe, that is going to move them from proof of work to proof of stake, which Cardano is right now, and a lot of the larger layer one solutions that are smart contract based, the Solanas, the Polkadots, and others that are out there, and give you a much better scaling solution than proof of work, which is very intensive and doesn't allow as many transactions per second to happen. I am right now in the middle of the Cardano Catalyst project. This is Fund 6 that's launching. We're actually community advisors and doing a lot of the reviews of what's coming up on the Catalyst Fund 6. There's a lot of really cool projects that are up for funding. And if you haven't and you own ADA, you can stake it. You can also vote in the Catalyst project on who you want to fund. One of the really cool things about Cardano is that it allows you as a community to go out there and choose where you want funds to go to. And in this Fund 6, there's going to be $4 million worth of ADA that gets distributed to projects that are building on the Cardano blockchain. So it's a really cool thing. This one I was really excited about. It's actually an ecosystem map that takes a lot of the guesswork out of what's going on the Cardano ecosystem right now. There's some ecosystem maps out there, and you'll probably see them. They look like, they look like this, where there's just some logos and things that show you what's happening inside the ecosystem right now, what's getting built. but it's a little bit hard, obviously, to keep up to date. And it's a little bit tough also to track and see what's what, right? What's the DeFi projects? What are the NFT projects? What's getting built in the ecosystem right now? And what does it do for me? What are the really cool things? So this ecosystem map I always like to refer to, but when I came across this project, which I hope gets funded here in Catalyst Fund 6, this is just a very detailed ecosystem of what's getting built right now. And there are a ton of different projects that are all building on the Cardano ecosystem. This is really cool because it's almost like a who's who, allows projects to submit their information, their criteria, and it's, you know, it's pretty much a neutral third party where instead of having logos and different aspects to where projects get placed, this is just, you can search on what type of application you're looking for, you know, DeFi, NFT, development tools. And again, it gives you a pretty good overview of everything. So if you want to take a look at this, it's built on Cardano.com. You know, it's similar to what you're going to see from an ecosystem map and some of these that you've seen that are JPEGs that are out there right now on Reddit groups and other places will have all of these logos involved with them. But I really like the fact that this goes into more detail and gives you the ability to find out about the projects themselves. So what's getting scheduled here to be rolled out? This kick.io project is supposed to be coming out here in a couple of days, in 2 days. And this is the first one that I could see that was going to go live. Kick.io is just a launchpad, basically. Allows for fundraising on the Cardano ecosystem, basically allows you to submit your project, raise funds, a la Kickstarter, something like that. So pretty cool, but it is getting developed right now and should be live here shortly. Pretty cool project. So this is the first thing, again, that I could find that's going to actually be rolled out and probably live. One of the projects that's already live is CardStarter. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but similar to the Kick project, it is an incubator accelerator for the Cardano ecosystem. They've already launched several projects. I'll show you those in a second. CardStarter allows you to stake your cards tokens and participate in their initial coin offerings. So depending on how many tokens you have and how many you stake, you can get different levels of participation in the projects that they're launching. And they've launched several of them. They have some good partnerships. Let's go into their projects really quickly. They've launched Matrix Swap, Flurry Finance, Unvest, Paribus, Unreal Finance, World Mobile Token, Spores Token, Shuffle, Alpha Impact, Definity, Euro Wallet, SoMe. This is a social media platform. It's similar to, you know, Facebook, at least their user interface is, but it's decentralized. It hasn't really gone live yet. There's a kind of a beta out there, but you can take a look at, but pretty cool kind of social media project. And Charlie 3 was their first project that they incubated. It's an Oracle. I actually spoke with one of the lead developers on Charlie last week, and their timeline for going live is going to be probably first or second week in October with feeds, and they're going to do price feeds first. They're trying to get them offered for free so that developers can actually get price feeds from anywhere and move them into the Cardano ecosystem to create smart contracts around them, similar to what Chainlink does or other oracles that are out there like that. So CardStarter obviously has funded these projects. And how did they do that when there was no smart contracts live? Almost all of these, if not all of them, are on the Ethereum blockchain right now. They're ERC20 tokens, and they're going to port over to the Cardano ecosystem here now that their smart contract functionality is live. So Charlie 3, they're offered right now on the Ethereum blockchain. They're an ERC20 token. You can find them on CoinMarketCap and all of those, and they're going to port over from an ERC20 token to a Cardano native token here probably in October as well. One of my favorite projects getting developed is the ErgoDex. And if you aren't familiar with it, it's similar to like a Uniswap in terms of it's a decentralized exchange that allows you to take your tokens and swap them for other tokens. So if you've got an ADA token and you want to swap it for an Ethereum token, you can do that directly on the exchange. They've got a beta, which they've rolled out here and has been live for about 2 or 3 weeks, which is just a very simple swap, but allows you to download the Euro Wallet version that allows you to connect directly to the application, similar to how MetaMask works in the Ethereum ecosystem. and you can swap tokens. Right now, they're going to be live on the, well, it's going to be a cross-chain DEX. So you're going to be able to swap Cardano native tokens to Ergo native tokens. And Ergo's been developed here since, I think their project started in 2016, 2017, and they're a level 1 blockchain as well. And they're really doing some really cool things. Automated market maker, decentralized exchange, and their roadmaps all listed right here. They've got a great team, and it looks like their project's going to launch probably in the next week or two. So we'll be able to actually start using it, swapping tokens on it, and see how it works. The other big decentralized exchange that's getting a lot of publicity is Sunday Swap. And Sunday Swap is going to, again, be another decentralized exchange. They've got a huge following on some of the social media platforms. They have a slower roadmap. They're going to probably be launching the middle of October from what I take off of their social media right now. But they're a project that's been mentioned by Charles Hoskinson several times, and the community in itself is really looking forward to them launching. They've created a roadmap, and they're also going to do an initial stake pool offering. If you're not familiar with that, initial stake pool offerings, they're going to have a stake pool that allows you to delegate your Cardano tokens, your ADA tokens into it. And in exchange, instead of getting rewards paid in ADA, or maybe in addition to getting paid in ADA, you'll get paid in the Sunday native tokens as well. So huge benefit, right? You can take your tokens and you can earn rewards, and also to get those, hopefully those cheaper, initial stake offering values than you would if you waited until after they were public. A lot of times the initial coin offerings will allow you to buy tokens that are a fraction of a penny, or can be 5 or 10 cents, whereas once they go live, they go up to $1, $2, $3 fairly quickly, just depending on speculation where people think they're going to end up. So anyway, Sunday Swap, they give tech updates. Their last one was just yesterday, so it gives you an idea on where they are and where they're working to. Again, the last time I heard an interview with their founder, they said that they would be rolling out here mid-October with their product and their stake pool offering at the same time. They're going to do 5 weeks. So 5 weeks, they're going to do 5 epochs of their stake pool and allow you to earn rewards for those 5 weeks. So Charlie 3 is the oracle that I mentioned earlier. It's got a lot of promise built into it as well. It has the ability to be similar to a Chainlink, and I really like the fact that they've been around for a while. They right now have 16 different developers that are all Haskell based that are working on the project, and they're really starting to build in their pricing models right now so that they can basically go out there. If you're not familiar with an oracle, they go out to the internet, they retrieve data from the internet, they have validators on their network that validate that the information is correct, and then they pass it on to smart contract operators. So if you wanted to get a price for what Apple shares were trading at today, you could query Charlie, go to their API. They feed back the price, they get validated by the network to say, yeah, this is correct. And then exactly what the price would be for your smart contract or whatever it was that you were building on top of the network. So my favorite dApp that's getting developed right now, and I guess you could call it more of it's going to be an ecosystem unto itself, is the World Mobile Token. And they launched their World Mobile Token about 3 weeks ago now. It was August 16th. They're actually creating a network inside of Africa, and they are rolling out mobile access to people that otherwise don't have access to the internet, and giving people broadband internet to communities that are basically unconnected. So they're going to roll this out to 100,000 people by the end of the year, and these 100,000 people will be coming onto the Cardano blockchain. They're also partnered with Meld, which is a decentralized lending application. So not only will people be able to connect to the internet and get broadband internet, they'll be able to get banking services or decentralized banking services. Really cool, really amazing that they're able to build these decentralized ways of dealing with the connectivity issue, right? You'll see projects that are out there, like one of the big ones is the Starlink project that's getting built by Elon Musk at SpaceX, where they're launching all these low satellites around the planet and able to connect people anywhere in the world. The problem with that is that it's expensive, right? So if you're getting mobile service, it might cost you 10 or 15 or $20 a month, which is cost prohibitive for most of the people that don't have internet right now. If you're not making a whole lot of money, you're not going to be able to afford the broadband services or mobile services, no matter how cheap they are, right? So with World Mobile Token, you're actually transacting in WMT, and when you're running the actual node itself, the cellular site, you're actually earning the WMT. So these villages and these cities and these places that are otherwise not connected are earning WMT and being able to transact in it. So it's actually becoming a type of currency, which is really cool, you know, a la how Bitcoin is right now. But WMT will be used to transact and to, you know, be able to be sent back and forth for mobile services. And it's really a cool concept. I'm real excited to see how it goes, but you can take a look at it and get more information on the World Mobile Token website. So that always leads to, well, what is the current value of things today? As you know, Cardano went up over $3 a couple of weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, and now it's back down to 244, which again, doesn't really indicate its necessary utility where things lie right now on the roadmap. But there are a lot of pundits that are saying that it's, you know, going to go up to $5, $6, $10, depending on who you're listening to. And if that's what you're interested in and you want to find something that has the ability to gain value, I do believe that Cardano is definitely one of those things that you need to really take a look at. And the ecosystem, again, is getting built out. It's going to be really amazing to see what happens here in the next week, 2 weeks, month, 2 months. Which of these projects come live? Obviously, it's a race to see who comes out first and who has a product that works. The Cardano Summit's coming up here in about 2 weeks now, on the 25th, 26th. It's going to be a live virtual event where there's going to be different places, different cities all over the world that are going to be basically logging in live to host different meetups for the summit itself. But it does give people a chance to communicate. I think they're going to invite, I think Charles said about 7 or 8 different applications to speak at the conference. So there's going to be people that are talking about what they've built, what they're building, and you know, all the exciting things that are happening right now on the Cardano ecosystem. But with that, I wanted to open it up to you guys. If you've got any questions about anything, feel free to type it into the chat or to unmute yourself and let me know. I'm happy to discuss everything Cardano based with you for 10, 15 minutes here, and then we can wrap things up.
Christian, hey, it's Ganesh here. Just one quick question. In the beginning, we mentioned about a couple of contenders or worthy competitors for Cardano is, of course, barring Ethereum. It would be Solana or DOT or Polkadot or Algorand or Avalanche, right? So, again, is there any place where we can actually go and check how different these are and what are the pros and cons of using these chains, basically, or as a platform by itself? And the reason I ask the question is because if you look at Solana as a blockchain or a coin, has skyrocketed like mad in the last 3 weeks. Now, I'm not too sure why it's gone, because there should be some rationale behind why it's gone. I'm again thinking there must be some kind of use case somebody has figured out that the benefit of using that particular platform compared to others. So if I backtrack it, I'm trying to say, what are those benefits of using Cardano vis-a-vis to these other worthy competitors?
Sure. Each competitor is going to have its pros and cons. I think that each one kind of lays out things in their notes. So you can, the DeFi Llama site is one that shows what the liquidity locked on different platforms is. So you can get an idea on how much is being locked in different ecosystems. Obviously Ethereum is going to be the biggest, and you're going to have, $121 billion worth of value locked on it. Solana, you've got 11, Polygon, about 5, Phantom, 1, Terra Luna, about 6, Avalanche, about 2, and then the Binance Smart Chain, about 16. So you can kind of see from there where people are developing as far as the DeFi space goes and where the value is locked. Obviously, with Ethereum, they have such a big head start that they're about 10x what everybody else is. The problem with that one, like we know, is that the gas fees that are associated with it are going to be extremely high and prohibitive for a lot of the projects that are being run.
Yeah.
With Solana, they have their roadmap and their notes and their milestones, and their claim to fame really is that they're supported a lot by FTX and a lot of the big players that are out there. They have a very, very high transaction per second count, which I believe is 4,000 or something like that, or 40,000, something like that. It's a much higher transaction per second, than Ethereum right now, which is 15 to 20, or Bitcoin, which is like 5 or 6. And even on Cardano, it's going to take a while. Their next step in their roadmap for Cardano is to create a scaling solution. And so that's going to happen probably middle of next year, where they start to really focus on that. And then their last thing is going to be governance. And a lot of these chains too are centrally governed right now. So one person's making all the decisions for, what goes on inside the ecosystem. But that gives you kind of an overview. Each blockchain is going to have different pros and cons, and you're going to find people inside of each one that are going to be, huge evangelists and proponents, and then you're going to find people too that are on the outside that are detractors that that don't think that it's great at all. So each one again is going to be a little bit different, but it just really depends on what you'd want to develop on. And a lot of them though are going to start to be cross-chain here, and I know that Cardano's roadmap is to become more able to do cross-chain transactions. I know Polkadot is really aspiring to be the internet of blockchains. It wants to connect everybody. So that's always a good barometer to start from.
Right. Okay. And a technical question, I'm assuming that whatever these guys are building, they're all building on the same technology. I mean, the base technology still remains the same, right? I mean, the algo could be different, but the fundamental is still the same, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna all be about the same. You're gonna see blockchains that purport to be really great. The one thing that you can't measure, and the one thing that I think is really amazing about Cardano, is that the community is so incredibly strong that you're gonna see a lot of, even if they make missteps here and there, everybody loves the fact that it's decentralized. It's very it's very open. Like I said, we're part of the community when it comes to the Cardano Catalyst Advisor Program. And we get to go out, and anybody can become an advisor, go out and take a look at what's getting developed, interact with the community, make comments, partner up with people and help build things. So I think that's a huge benefit that a lot of these ecosystems don't have, is that the community starts from the ground up, right? And a lot of these they had a ton of money that was thrown at them, the Solanas and the Polkadots, and the Avalanches, had millions, hundreds of millions of venture capitalist money that was thrown at them. But that means that those venture capitalists are going to want to return. So they're going to, they're going to basically dictate what happens. Whereas Cardano is more community based, right? It's like, okay, we're all in this together. It's the small guy trying to take on the establishment. So, it's a big change.
Okay, all right, great. So I think the community, what we with this particular F6 or any other community, what we see now, which you're showing us, is unique in nature, is what you're saying, isn't it? Compared to other contenders, worthy contenders, what we spoke about. I think this is more structured in nature in terms of how they're building ground up, rather than top down. It's more ground up.
Exactly. The community itself and what they're really focused on, and what they've really based their products on, are helping the little guy, right? And Charles, if you go back to his TED talk that was 6 or 7 years ago, basically talks about helping everybody create a digital identity, and helping everybody get banking and lending services, and helping the little guy rise up from where they are right now to the ability to connect to the internet and anywhere in the world. And the message has always been the same, for the last however long it's been since Cardano started. It was 2015-ish. So you're getting the exact same messaging from that very beginning until now. And what that does is it just solidifies the fact that we're in this as community as a group. We're not here to, make a bunch of money. It's going to be nice and it's going to probably succeed and be great for everybody.
Yeah.
But that's a benefit to making a product, creating an ecosystem and, doing something that's really incredible that, nobody's really done before. And that's what I really like about the crypto space and the blockchain space as a whole, is that it really is this untapped ecosystem, where I think that the estimates are about 140 million people are using some type of a cryptocurrency right now. Most of them are just buying and holding on to it. They're not even using the blockchain technology per se. But that's supposed to grow to 1 billion, by 2025. So in the next 4 years, it's going to almost 10x, and then it probably is going to grow another, billion or 2 billion by that point. And what Cardano's focused on in Africa is helping that small guy get connected, just like with World Mobile Token, so that maybe they get 100,000 people signed up this year, and then 1 million people next year, and then 10 million people the year after that. But all those people then are going to be right onboarded into the Cardano ecosystem. Whereas most of the people that come to crypto are going, okay, I'll go buy some Bitcoin or I'll go buy some Ethereum. This is going to be, no, I'm using, a token that benefits me, that's on this ecosystem. And I have my identity, if you're in Ethiopia, that's tied to, the Atala Prism digital identification solution. And therefore, it gives me the ability to go out there and demonstrate that I have these credentials and I can, have this experience and I can apply for these kinds of jobs and I can do all these different things. It just always kind of bugs me, the fact that we're still using these pieces of paper, right? Even with vaccine passports, right? People keep talking about that. It's just like, it should all be digital on the blockchain. If you want to say I was vaccinated, here you go, I was vaccinated. If you don't want to be vaccinated, great, you're not vaccinated, whatever the case may be. But it doesn't need to be a piece of paper. It's just like, why not put it on the blockchain and then have it available for everybody? So
absolutely,
that seems so great. I did want to answer a couple of questions here that are in the chat. The first one is Ethereum. It basically uses Solidity as its smart contract programming language. The language that Cardano uses is called Plutus, and it was developed specifically for the Cardano ecosystem. So Plutus is what they use currently for smart contracts. Now, that's not to say that here, probably in the next 2 months, by the end of the year, they're going to have 2 additional ways that you can program smart contracts on Cardano. The first one being the Ethereum virtual machine. That's going to be, so you'll be able to program directly in Solidity if you want to create smart contracts on Cardano. And the third one is called Yele, I-E-L-E, and that's going to allow people to program in their language of choice, be that JavaScript or Java or any of the languages that are out there, and compile it and be able to run smart contracts directly on the Cardano blockchain. So it's going to be a much, much more robust system. It's not going to require anything, that's too technical for you to figure out. The nice thing too about Cardano is that they're creating Marlowe, and that's a project that probably is going to be here in the next couple of weeks, where Marlowe is going to allow almost what you see is what you get type of development environment, which you're going to be able to go out and put together a smart contract with no technical knowledge whatsoever. Marlowe is going to be a huge step on the way for anybody to develop whatever they want when it comes to a smart contract. So that's going to be a really great milestone for Cardano. Right now, if you don't have a background in Solidity, you pretty much don't have the ability to do much when it comes to the Ethereum network. And Solidity, from my understanding, I don't understand the background behind it, but it's a difficult language to learn. I do have some friends that are coders and developers, and it's not something that you can pick up in a weekend. It's something that you need to study for a couple of months and put together some tests and do some things, but it's definitely something that's not easy to pick up. So those are some of the pros and cons, and each blockchain is probably going to have its own different type of programming language that it uses. Some are using Rust, some are using JavaScript. Some are using their own, proprietary built, programming language that was built from the ground up, but most of them are going to use some different type of language. And you want to be able to have something that at least developers are going to know and understand, so that you're not having to fight for those resources from, Haskell developers or Plutus developers or Solidity developers. You want to be able to, and that'll be a really nice thing to be able to go out to just about any developer or coder out there and have them create a smart contract for you. One of the other questions was, I remember Charles referring to learn Solidity and the Ethereum dev environment if they want to learn Cardano. Okay. And so how do you spell Plutus? Plutus is Plutus. And there's a Plutus Pioneer program. If you just Google it, we had one of our developers go through it. It's a 6-week program. I think Plutus 3 is going to come out here in the next couple of weeks. And it's also too going to focus on Prism, which is the language or the digital identity solution that Atala is creating for the Cardano blockchain. So you'll not only get a chance to learn Plutus, but you'll also know the Prism network, so you can develop the blockchains around it. So those are really cool things as well that are all getting developed right now. But there's a lot that's going on. I think that really, it'll start to come to play here really quickly. I think that what Cardano has done is creating, the test net and allowing people to go out there and work on these things for the last, 8-10 weeks now. It's really put together. I think they had about 5,000 or so people go through the Plutus Pioneer program to learn the Plutus language. And there's all kinds of lessons on YouTube and that are available on their website. And anybody can go through and watch the videos and create smart contracts and use the playground in order to implement things. So that's going to be really cool. But again, once Marlowe comes out and then the ability to program in Solidity and also all of the Yelly languages, that's when it's really going to take off. It'll be fun to watch.
I had a question.
Sure.
So what we know, Alonzo was a huge milestone in terms of Cardano's development. What would be the next, if there is one already, scheduled? What would be the next major milestone comparable to Alonzo?
Their next,
because I assume we're going to be kind of operating with it. There's going to be a lot to deal with and a lot to calibrate, etc. Like a lot to get used to now. Now with smart contracts out, it's going to kind of be stabilizing for a couple of months.
yeah.
People trying to understand what it means, etc. So you were alluding to something in June occurring with a staking mechanism. Maybe that's kind of the next.
So the roadmap right now is they just finished the Goguen era. So that was the launch of Alonzo, and that's the smart contracts. So that's part 3 on their roadmap. They started with, Byron, which was the proof of concept, and then it was Shelley, which was staking. Then it's Goguen, which is smart contracts. The next is Basho. And my understanding as far as the timeline goes is that Basho is supposed to roll out towards the beginning to middle of next year. And that's going to be more about scaling. So what you'll hear Charles refer to a lot is Hydra, which is going to be their kind of layer 2 solution that allows different heads to pop up depending on how busy the network gets. And so you'll always have that throughput that you desire rather than having to wait for an hour or 2 hours for a block to be confirmed. You'll know within seconds based on that ability to create that level 2 solution, similar to I think kind of what Polygon is to Ethereum. You'll start to see those kind of solutions rolled out. And then the last is going to be Voltaire, which is towards the end of next year. And that's the complete governance system where no longer will there be the decisions made from the IOG, which is the input output global, and the IOHK. They'll still have some input based on the amount of ADA, the Cardano tokens that they hold, but everybody will have an equal say. And so that'll be the complete decentralization. Everybody will be able to determine how the product moves forward and who votes for what and who gets funded and all those different things. And that should be towards the end of next year. And at that point, that pretty much solidifies the roadmap. And then from that point, the community will govern, what happens in the future. So it's kind of put out there into the ecosystem, into the world, and then everything just takes shape and it runs itself. But it becomes one of those, I guess, an entity that it's exciting, right? Because there's no one person then that could say, oh, we're going to do this or we're going to do that. It's everybody voting, and you might not like the way that things turn out, and Charles might not like the way that things turn out, but that's the way it is with a decentralized system. So that's kind of the roadmap that is, as far as I understand it. And that Basho should be the scaling solution towards the beginning to middle of next year, 2022, and then Voltaire will be towards the end of 2022.
I had a question for you, Christian.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks for putting this on. It's really informative. One of the things you talked about was the World Mobile Token, which seems like a great idea. I actually bought a Helium miner, so that's going to come in 3 or 4 months. So my question is why don't they use the native Cardano token instead of their own token? And then the second question is the infrastructure. What are they going to tie into to allow people to access the internet?
So what they're doing, and it comes up here in the video in just a second, is that they're taking these cell sites, for better lack of a word, and they're putting solar panels on top of them and putting them into the villages. And then they have them connected to fiber connections that are in the major cities. And I don't know the exact specifications of everything, but I believe every 5 kilometers or so, they're putting another cell site down and basically allowing these villages to run the cell sites themselves. They're very inexpensive and they're very easy to put up and maintain. And what it's doing is, these villages that may be, 10, 15, 20 people, they now are getting broadband internet. They're now getting, connection on the mobile side. They're able to also connect when they want to buy and sell things, or when they want to get loans, or different things that happen when we just kind of take for granted. They are able to get a digital identity at that point, a la like a social security number, but it's a digital identity that is going to be basically their wallet. And your question of why it doesn't happen natively on Cardano is just basically the blockchain, and it's allowing you to get that immutable block about specific information, but there's going to be all of these decentralized applications that are built on top of the blockchain, similar to what Ethereum has right now. And most people really equate it to, decentralized finance. That's the big buzzword, DeFi. But there's all these applications that can be built and utilize the blockchain and create their own tokens. And Ethereum's almost been the playground, the test scenario for all of these other blockchains to model themselves after. And a lot of them have. So you got your Solanas out there and your Avalanches and your other layer 1 blockchain solutions that have created similar things to Ethereum. Whereas Cardano's basically said, we're not going to try to do everything. We're going to create the platform, the foundation for all these other people to go out and build all of these things on top of it. And so that's kind of the exciting part, is that it's not, I think when you also think of Ethereum, you don't really think of the applications on top of it. I think when Raoul Pal talks about Ethereum, he says you're almost like buying the internet, right? You're buying the plumbing. It's Cardano is the plumbing to the way that the blockchain works. They're creating all of the stuff that is ugly that you don't really want to see, but it provides all the utility for everything else that's going to be there. So you can think of Cardano as buying right now a little piece of what everybody else is going to be developing on at some point in the future. And there's going to be utility to owning the Cardano token, ADA, and there's going to be utility to owning the the World Mobile token, or the the Ergo token, or all the other products that are getting built on it. I think the best way to think of it, and the way that I heard it put best, is that you think of Amazon Web Services as this great, Amazon obviously is the one of the largest companies in the world. Amazon Web Services hardly gets talked about, but it's worth a lot of money. And then you've got Netflix, which runs completely on Amazon Web Services, which is worth a ton of money as well. So you can think of the Amazon Web Services as basically Cardano, and then something like World Mobile Token would be Netflix. So that's a really good way to put it.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Christian, quick question. Earlier, you just showed about one particular website for the staking. Can you just show that website? I just want to make a note of that.
For the initial stake pool, is that what you were?
No. The other one where you showed about where each of the tokens are staked at, from at what place.
Oh, the DeFi Llama?
I think so.
So DeFi Llama is basically how much liquidity is provided into the different ecosystems that are out there. So there's 175 billion total in all of the different ecosystems based on this. And then you can go into Ethereum and see how much is on Ethereum, how much is in Solana, how much is in Polygon. So it gives you an idea on where the liquidity is being placed right now, and which ecosystems hold the most. And so a lot of them are in a race to get as much as they possibly can into their ecosystem to make it worth more, right? So if there's $10 billion that's all in the Solana ecosystem getting used for decentralized finance and different types of exchanges and applications, then that, okay, there's $5 billion worth of tokens that are there. In Polygon, there's 5 billion. On Phantom, there's 1.26 billion. But there's kind of a race right now to see who can get the most where, and they're all giving each other incentives. There was, Polygon started about 3 or 4 months ago, giving these huge incentives to DeFi applications like Aave and Curve to stake your token, or to lend your tokens. So, with the biggest decentralized finance application is, Aave right now. $24 billion is, locked right now in Aave. And if you go inside the app itself, basically the two things you can do is to lend and to borrow. So if you want to lend your tokens out, you can lend them, and it shows you what the market size is for each one as well. So if you want to lend your USDC coins, there's 5.676 that are currently right now in the system. 5.23 have been borrowed. If you deposit your tokens, you get 7% interest. Plus, you also get a bonus. If you can see down here at the bottom, you get 0.81% that's sent to you in the Aave token. And then if you borrow, you're getting 8.63%, or that's how much it's costing you to borrow, but you do get a little bit of a bonus as well for borrowing from it. And it'll show your APY. So a lot of these decentralized finance applications, this is what the SEC is worried about, is that they're giving you the ability to lend and borrow money or value. That's better than saying money, because money is subjective to where you are. This is just value, but you're able to lend and borrow value from people all over the world and get such a better return than you do in your bank account currently anywhere in the world. Look, you have 0.1% in most places, but some places are negative, that you have to pay them in order for you to give them your money. Here you can go give them your USDC coins, which is basically $1, and get 7% interest. So, if you have $100,000 in the bank, why not convert it to USDC and, lend it to Aave at 7% interest and get $7,000 a year off of it? This is a great example on why people are so excited about DeFi, is that it's a game changer for most things. And the reason why they're giving you 7% is because they're lending it out, right? So this is exactly how banking was supposed to work. You're supposed to, give them your money, they pay you interest, and then they lend it out at a little bit higher interest, which is what banking should have been. But banking's now become a huge game of derivatives and trades and all kinds of other things that really warp the system. But this is a really good example of what's going to be developed on all the layer one solutions right now. Avalanche is really the next one that's looking to deploy on Aave here shortly. And they're going to offer liquidity, but Aave is built on the ERC20 on the Ethereum network. They also tour on Polygon right now. But you can see how this gives people the ability to control their destiny, right? When it comes to, it's my money, I want to put it here. But the SEC and a lot of the government organizations, especially the new thing that just came about Coinbase, right? The SEC was going to file a lawsuit against them for creating a lending protocol. And everybody's just like, why? That's just strange. But again, they're owned by the banks. They want to see the banks win at all costs. And so when you have things that threaten them, they have a tendency to use the power of the government to push back on these types of things. But all of these, I think, crypto-based, blockchain-based solutions are at some point going to really become how our lives are lived, hopefully sooner rather than later. And this is just another great example of how that'll work. Anyway, I don't want to take up too much more time, but I appreciate everybody for being on the meetup this afternoon. If you could give it a thumbs up, share it with some friends, and we hope to continue to grow the community. Comment below. If you'd like to reach out to me directly, feel free to direct message me either in the group, in the comments, in any of the social media platforms. Again, I'm recording this, so I will post this on YouTube and post the link in the meetup when it's all completed. Have a great rest of your day. I'll continue to update you as I come across new things. And if there's anything new that you come across too that's cool and exciting, please feel free to let me know.